The Landmark deal is really important to Aberdeen in my view, and that's why we've been working on it for more than a year now. It allows us to reposition Aberdeen to hold investments that we will have a controlling interest in and that will be proprietary to the company and the shareholders of Aberdeen, as opposed to many of our historical holdings where we really held a minority non-controlling interest. So the deal, to summarize, we're selling a number of our historical holdings to a fund that was set up for Landmark. And in return, we're getting some cash up front. We're getting a management fee and some upside participation in the fund's performance. It allows us to also partner with a leading U.S. private equity firm and start to develop relationships in that market, which will be, in my view, very important to the future of Aberdeen. Landmark is one of the top private equity fund of funds companies in the world, specializing in secondary funds. And a secondary fund is a private equity fund where the investment commitments have largely been made already. So you know what's in the portfolio. The benefits of the transaction for our shareholders are first and foremost the significant upfront cash we're getting, which will allow us to make investments that follow our core strategy in this time where we're seeing a lot of attractive value in the mining sector. And as well, it will allow us to better manage our burn rate with the introduction of a significant new management fee.
Why does Landmark want
The benefits for Landmark for this deal, first and foremost, they're looking for a strong partner to get mining exposure for their funds. Natural resources and mining specifically has become a more recognized part of the private equity sector over the last decade to 15 years. And there are still relatively limited ways to play the sector. So I think partnering with Aberdeen and our team, they're able to build a relationship with a strong leader in the sector that can generate good returns for them, and that's what it will be about for them going forward for the next several years. So selling these positions for the most part would have been individually would have been almost impossible for us. Firstly, most of the portfolio involved in the transaction are private securities. Those are hard to sell individually at the best of times because there's no liquid market for them. And selling non-controlling small interests is certainly harder than selling larger strategic interests. Secondly, and this probably gets missed by a lot of people, going out into the market and trying to sell these securities actually damages the companies themselves. Many of the companies that we are holding are out raising their own capital. So to have then one of their shareholders trying to sell stock in the face of that fundraising effort would be damaging. And even if they're not raising capital, having to recognize a market price in this distressed environment is not going to help the company nor their other shareholders. So this transaction really is the best setup for all the parties involved, the companies, for Aberdeen and for Landmark, in order to maximize value over the longer term. Yeah, we've, as part of the agreement, we've embedded a couple of different mechanisms in the deal that will allow Aberdeen to continue to see upside in the portfolio, provided that we generate the high returns that we expect. And so one of them is a $2 million one-off payment that we will get once a certain amount of the portfolio has been sold. And secondly, we also have a interest in the net profits of the portfolio as well. With the cash we're getting from the deal, we're going to continue to follow our core investment strategy, and so in terms of the assets that we're investing in, really no change. We're looking for world-class mining opportunities that have scale, low costs, and in manageable jurisdictions. But the difference is, instead of investing that in many small positions, we're looking to do perhaps another 2 larger deals over the next 12 to 18 months, and keep our portfolio core and proprietary to the shareholders of Aberdeen. Nothing happens to Aberdeen's investment in African Thunder. We continue to hold our entire position in that, and post-closing of this transaction, it will become our largest holding, at least for the time being. We are very excited to see this company grow over the coming years. The platinum and palladium market has not been very kind to us over the past few months. However, we did buy this asset very cheaply. So, to some degree that was already factored in. And certainly we expect a rebound in the commodities, and platinum palladium specifically has excellent fundamentals. And the assets that we bought have some really good potential to be a low-cost producer in the case of Smoky Hills, and then a nice growth asset in the case of Calplat's, the second mine that was part of the deal. So we're really excited to see this company grow and generate high returns for the Aberdeen shareholders going forward. In this mining bear market, I think to some degree we have to accept that the discount is going to be there in some way, shape, or form. And I see my job at the moment as being the most important part of my job at the moment is setting the company up so that when the bear market does leave and we have better times for commodities and mining equities, that the company is set up to optimize value. How we're going to do that, as I've said before, there's a number of ways we've already improved the company by improving our board of directors, by reducing our G&A, adding an income stream to our overall finances, but most importantly, setting our company up so that we own investments that are great mining assets that you cannot buy anywhere else. So whether it's tomorrow or a year from now, when someone wants to get equity exposure to African Thunder Platinum, or to our next deal, or our next deal after that, the only way they're going to be able to do that is to buy shares of Aberdeen. And that's going to benefit us all as the mining market improves in the next few years.